Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Sounds of Coherency. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. It has been a crazy week. I mean, things are getting absolutely insane. There might be some normalcy still hanging around every corner if you look for the right things. There's always beautiful skies, well, depending on where you're at. But there's flowers in bloom. The weather's not too hot. It's not too humid. It's a nice time to be alive. And then on the other side, we have the United States government. Infighting, bickering, left and right. Everybody has an agenda, even those that you may support, and nobody wants to work together for the good of the people. The problem is you have many with very good ideas, and you have many with very bad ideas. And the people with the bad ideas don't want to work with the people with the good ideas, because the good ideas will keep the bad ideas from taking hold and destroying the nation. This fuel problem that's happening, we've talked about this since last year. This is nothing new. But the media keeps trying to spin it like it is. And they keep trying to refresh the story. It's Putin's fault. It's Putin's fault. It's like Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda man, said, if you say the lie and stick to it, if you say it enough times, the lie will become the truth. Now that's not verbatim, but I'm pretty sure you can get the gist of what I'm saying. As long as they keep repeating this lie on the television and giving it to you on the internet, eventually you'll believe the lie. And then we have the Government Disinformation Board, which has apparently gone on quote unquote temporary hiatus. The person set to head it has stepped down, stating that she partially, along the lines of feeling uncomfortable, she didn't like the fact that people decided to look into her past, decided to look up the things that she tweeted, the things that she said, the same thing that herself and other people that side with her and, are like-minded, believe should be done to people they don't like. People that they don't approve of what they have to say. See, if you say something they don't like, they try and go through whatever bits of your past and history they can find where you said something that was quite unlikable, or maybe could be construed as unlikable, and use that as a weapon against you to attempt to get you deplatformed. People forget that it was so bad, and it still is for some. They had their bank accounts shut down because of their political beliefs. Keep that in mind. This began during the Obama administration. But people wanted to be woke so bad. Please don't come after us. We'll cancel these people's bank accounts. That's crazy. That is insane. But they have no problems with, looking into what people have in their own closets. But please don't look into theirs. And it's absolutely insane. But the board has shut down. And the crazy thing is they shut down as Peter Doocy basically put the new White House press secretary on the spot by pointing out that the Disinformation Board shut down because what they claim was misinformation. Disinformation. Because they say that the Government Disinformation Board was being mischaracterized, and people were, saying it would do things that it really wouldn't. And the problem is the things that people were talking about are the very things that the DHS actually said they would be doing. their attempt to fight misinformation on what's happening on the border and with Russia and Ukraine, i.e. giving the government, the White House, the ability to pick what narrative and what information you should be privy to. And then we roll into the baby food shortages. Coupled with the food shortages around the nation, we have forgotten that over the past couple of years, the White House, the USDA, under their authority, as well, for some reason, the DOJ and DHS were involved with this, but they were culling animals by the millions. Millions of gallons of milk destroyed. Farmers being paid to not grow crops. Topsoil, somehow, for some reason, being transferred out of farmlands in the heartland of the United States. Where's it going? One can only imagine. Honestly, I'm not going to speculate. I have no idea where it's going. But, again, one can imagine. You've got food processing plants blowing up. Yes, food processing plants do blow up. And they have blown up in the past, but I'm not sure that they've actually blown up at this rate in such a small time frame, coupled with fertilizer plants blowing up amidst a shortage of fertilizer. I mean, it's as if there are certain things that are happening that's going to end up forcing the United States to start having to import more and more and more because the infrastructure seems to be blowing up and falling apart. And there's nothing being done to repair it. I mean, really, it seems this White House is more focused on repairing the rest of the world at the expense of its own people, and thinks that its own citizens should pay for it, but they should get nothing out of the deal except the debt. You now have a president who wants to send troops back into Somalia. Let's send more aid for weapons to Ukraine. Let's send them aid for food and things like baby formula. And speaking of more baby formula, the White House is considering enacting the Defense Protection Act. The Production Act, yes, the National Defense Production Act. Giving the government basically the authority to take over industry in times of national distress. We're having a baby food shortage. A baby formula shortage. The government needs to take over the manufacturing of these plants for a short time till we can get it back on track. Despite the fact that the FDA is dragging its feet, and that's why inspections of the plant have not happened at a rate that they should. And then you get funny bits of comedy. So I'm going to play a little bit of a clip from Fox News. It's always a delight to hear these, and she actually has Dan Sullivan on from Arkansas. So let's have a quick listen to this because it is right on cue with what we're talking about at this moment.
Rick Scott has been saying this. It's great to have you on. There's no shortage of baby formula in Mexico, Panama, or Canada. I mean, they knew about these problems with this Michigan baby formula plant 8 months ago. But that's not the only problem. It's because we have such strict guidelines and rules on what we can take in imports with baby formula. As Makeup Brzezinski of MSNBC said, there's a lack of intensity here. They're rushing aid to Ukraine, and even Poland at that border of Ukraine has baby formula. What is going on here?
Liz, you know, what we're seeing is a return to the 1970s Jimmy Carter malaise on almost every single issue. They're behind the curve on everything, and their policies are creating empty shelves, high energy prices, and dictators invading other countries. It's Carter all over again, and the American working family is paying the heaviest price for this right now.
And sir, we're hearing that the president, according to the Hill media, that's a newspaper out of D.C., that he may not run again. That's what the talk now is in D.C. Are you hearing?
Doesn't matter whether or not he's hearing it. I'm hoping that he doesn't. Please don't. Because if anybody believes that he won that, I'm going to stop there. I don't want to raise the cackles as if I'm saying something that I'm not supposed to say, because these days you still get in trouble for saying it. But on what she said, yes, these places don't seem to be having shortages of baby food formula. Looks like the United States is trying to get some from them. That seems to be an issue. The United States is not able to handle that. I mean, holy crap. But again, there's just so many things that just seem so out of place lately. Elon Musk is coming out. He's not doing anything terribly business-wise with what he's doing with the whole Twitter situation. People are mad he put the purchase on hold, but the audit is necessary because the user amount does make up the value. So when you have a situation, as their audit found out, that just almost half of all of Biden's followers are fake, that's a huge problem. And I wonder that when all these celebrities and people on the left said that when the buyout was happening, that they lost hundreds of thousands of followers immediately. I wonder if that was just the Twitter crew trying to begin removing robots, trying to remove the fake accounts, trying to get ahead of it before they got caught. Looks like they forgot to get to the president. I mean, all this is happening, and this government is just absolutely ridiculous. And they keep telling people this whole idea that more spending is good for inflation. They are rocketing things up, and I mean, they want another, over $1 trillion stimulus package or some crap is what they're talking about. Let's print $1 trillion more. We have a budget proposal of almost $6 trillion. This spending is going to make the inflation even worse. When that bubble pops, you're going to have people panic selling. And things will be bought on the penny. Not on the dollar, but on the penny. Stocks are bottoming out. People are already selling off. People are selling off their crypto because the prices are dropping. And for many people that held a lot of their money in there as their investment, they're seeing their investments go away. So now they're trying to sell it off, which is dropping the price even lower. But right now you have huge buyouts happening. Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be the normal people, but we're not going to get too far into that. Don't want to seem like anything I'm saying is coming off as financial advice, because that is not the case. I'm just pointing out what I am seeing, what I am reading, what I am hearing. At the rate that the economy is going with these inflated prices on homes, it would be a very huge shame if the predicted 30% housing crash were to happen. That's something to be thinking about, I think. That's just me. I would think highly about that, But that's to see. We can't say that is something that's going to happen, but that is something that is a possibility. And with the rate that they're doing things with the economy right now, That's a huge possibility. When you have a president that lies and says he created all these millions of jobs, and the reality was that's just people going back to work. Because where did these extra 6 million jobs come from? What industries created these jobs? I mean, where do these jobs exist? Because there seems to be a whole lot of people still clamoring that they cannot get jobs. And see, here's the thing. How many thousands upon thousands of restaurants and small businesses, and other small businesses rather, were shut down permanently. They're never coming back because of what happened during the pandemic with the lockdowns. So my question is, what industries did you create all these millions of jobs in? When most of the jobs that people have in the nation are through actual small businesses. It's not all major corporations. So if most of the businesses shut down, and many of them are not coming back, please explain to America where all these new jobs are. I believe you may have created 6 million jobs, but I don't think they were in the United States. Just marinate on that one. But I have a nice little special section for us tonight. We have Senator Hawley going off on Secretary Granholm. About these prices that we're talking about. And it's a huge display. And I'm glad that finally somebody actually said something in a way it needed to be said. Take the kid gloves off and do this as it was meant to be done. Now, granted, Senator Hawley has not been shy to approaching his questioning this way. So he is consistent on that. But let's just go ahead and dive into this.
Secretary Granholm, today in the state of Missouri, the average price of gasoline today, as of this morning, is $4.10. Average price of diesel is $5.18. And I'm sure you've seen the reporting this morning that now AAA is projecting that gas prices will hit a national average of $6 a gallon by the month of August. Is this acceptable to you?
No, it is not. And you can thank the activity of Vladimir Putin for invading Ukraine and pulling essentially those barrels.
With all due respect, Madam Secretary, that's utter nonsense. In January of 2021, the average gas price in my state was $2.07. 8 months later, long before Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, that price was up over 30%, and it has been going up consistently since. What are you doing to reverse this administration's policies that are drawing down our own supply of energy in this country, that are throttling oil and gas production in the United States of America? What are you doing about it?
With respect, sir, it is not administration policies that have affected supply and demand.
How can you say that when the price of gas was up over 30% from January to... you answer my questions, and it's my time, Madam Secretary, so why don't you answer my question? From January to August, the price of gasoline was up over 30%. In my state alone, it has been a continuous upward tick since then. And here's what your president did when he first came to office. He immediately re-entered the Paris Climate Accord. He canceled the Keystone Pipeline. He halted leasing programs in ANWR. He issued a 60-day halt on all new oil and gas leases and drilling permits on federal lands and waters. That's nationwide. That accounts, by the way, for 25% of U.S. oil production. He directed federal agencies to eliminate all supports for fossil fuels. He imposed new regulations on oil and gas and methane emissions. Those were all just in the first few days. Are you telling me that's had no effect on our energy supply?
94% of the oil and gas executives that were surveyed by the Dallas Fed said that administration policies had nothing to do with the increase in the price of oil.
I'm not interested in opinions of these people. I'm interested in the facts. Are you telling me that these policies had no effect? Is that your testimony that these policies had no effect? Are you telling me, Madam Secretary, are you telling me under oath that these policies had no effect?
I'm telling you that 94% of the oil and gas industry.
I'm not interested in their opinion. I'm interested in the facts.
So, no, they did not. Ask
that is
Vladimir
a remarkable statement
about the increase in demand and the decrease in supply from pulling Russian barrels of oil off the market, thanks to rightly the United States saying we're not going to take Russian oil. Coming out of COVID.
So what explains the increase between January and August of 2021?
Coming out of COVID, there was an increase in demand.
It's difficult to listen to her try and spin a lie. Isn't it funny how they said the U.S. doesn't actually import that much oil from Russia just a couple months ago? I mean, and here's what's crazy. Even if we were taking in more than we actually, were originally, I forget what that amount was. Considering the fact that the United States had become a net exporter, had taken in, was producing enough to keep the supplies full, to keep the reserves full, to keep prices low. I mean, the amount that we were taking in from Russia doesn't even matter. And in the grand scheme of it, it actually doesn't even matter at all. They've recently been boasting that we are up on our natural gas productions and we are now exporting the highest numbers or some nonsense like that. Exporting. The United States is having energy crisis and we're exporting in record numbers. That is America last. But those people over there are dealing with this and they really need it. But people over here are dealing with that and they really need it. Yes, but we have to take care of those people. No, you don't. You have to take care of your own citizens first. I don't want to be harsh. It will come off harsh. It will come off as mean and whatnot, but I'm not worried about what's happening in Ukraine. I'd like for Putin not to drop any nuclear missiles, and I'd like to not provoke him. What's happening in Ukraine this makes no difference to what's happening to the citizens of the United States. They have their own problems. You have to take care of home first. How can you openly, rightly demand to send aid to feed other people when you can't even feed your own citizens? We have to send this giant package of money to Ukraine because their people need the food. You have starving, hungry people here in the United States on the street. What are you doing to help them? Putin's invasion of Ukraine has nothing to do with them. What are you doing to help them? Ukraine has starving children. United States has starving children. You have a baby formula shortage. What are you doing to fix it? What are you doing to help these people? What exactly are you doing? And that's what we as American citizens need to be asking them every time they want to spend more money or want to send more money elsewhere. What are you doing for the citizens? You have this X amount of billions to feed children in this country. What are you doing for the children here in this country? If you've got enough money to send to them, there shouldn't be any starving children here. Keep that in mind. If you have enough money to send around the world to feed the starving children, you should not have any starving children in the United States. And if you do have any starving children in the United States, you need to get your priorities straight. Hopefully, we can make a change come this November. That would be the first step. And then 2 years later, we'll put someone in office that actually should be there. What a week. But I thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.